Let's take a couple moments and we'll walk through the initial and the system setup on Pioneer's DEH-X6800BT. So right now I'm on the AM/FM source, but I want to turn the head unit off. So we're going to press and hold the source button for a couple of seconds here. That switches the system off, but I still have the clock on the screen, and that's okay. We'll press in on the volume control, and we'll see two different menus here. There's the system menu, and we have the initial menu. Let's start on initial, and we'll press enter there. The first thing we see here is the speaker and pre-out mode. So we have speaker outputs and RCA outputs for running external amplifiers, and this will tell us how to set those up. So we'll press in there, and this tells us right now that my rear speaker outputs are set to full range, and my rear RCA outputs are set to subwoofer control, or subwoofer output. Let's roll over to the next setting. This tells me that my rear speaker outputs are set to subwoofer output, and my rear RCA outputs are set to subwoofer output. Let's roll over to the next setting, and this tells me that my rear speakers are set to full range output, and my rear RCAs are set to full range output as well. So if you want to have a subwoofer control available through the system so you can control the subwoofer output, you don't want this setting. There's no subwoofer setting in the system right here. We'll roll over to the first one, and this tells me that my rear speaker outputs are set to full range, and my rear RCA outputs are set to subwoofer output, and this means I'll have a subwoofer output available in my audio menu. So we'll go back now and roll over to the next setting, which is a software update. If there's a software update available for this system, you'll find that on pioneerelectronics.com. You'll download it to a USB thumb drive and put the update in right here. This could be a Bluetooth update or other software update available for the system. Let's roll over to the next setting, and this is full system reset. Touch the button here to reset the system back to the factory settings. We'll go back, and one more, and that's it for initial. And let's roll over to the next setting, which is our system settings, and press enter there. First thing we see here is clock set. For more information about setting the clock, check out the clock settings video. You can press enter here, and you can change the time. We'll go back, and we can roll over to the next setting, which is our clock format, 12 or 24 hours. We'll leave that at 12 hours for right now, and roll over to the next setting, which is our info display. Now the info display is the area right underneath the word info, and we have a number of different things that can show up in there. Spectrum analyzer can be in there, a level meter, the source information, or we can put the clock in there. If you want, you can completely turn that display area off. For right now, we will put, let's put the level meter in there for right now. And we will press enter and roll over to the next setting, which is auxiliary on. This means that when I press the source button here, auxiliary shows up in my source list. If you like to use auxiliary, the auxiliary input right here, you want auxiliary on. If you don't use auxiliary on a regular basis, you might want to switch that off so that when you press the source key again here, you don't see auxiliary as an option. I like to use auxiliary, so we'll leave that switched on for right now and roll over to the next setting, which is Bluetooth audio. Same thing as auxiliary here. If you use Bluetooth audio on a regular basis, you want Bluetooth audio to be switched on. If you don't use Bluetooth audio, touch in on the volume control here, and Bluetooth audio is off, and that means it won't show up in your source list when you touch the source button. I use Bluetooth audio all the time, so we'll leave Bluetooth audio on. And we'll roll over to the next setting, which is Bluetooth memory clear. You can have a number of different devices connected to the 6800, friends in and out of your car and connecting their phones. Sometimes you might want to just clear all of that information out of the memory and start over. This is where you would do that, Bluetooth memory clear. We'll go back and roll over to the next setting, where we can check the Bluetooth version. If a software update comes available for this head unit, you'd want to check the Bluetooth version to see if one is available, and you can do that update. We'll go back and roll over to the next setting, which is our app connection settings, and this is for connecting phones, iPhones and Android phones, and getting different apps to work on through the head unit. We'll press in on the volume control here, and we have two settings to work with. We have the wired connection that you will use generally for iPhones, and we have the Bluetooth connection that you'll use generally for Android phones. For right now, let's leave that as the wired connection. We'll go back and roll over to the next setting, which is our Android wired connections. If you've chosen the wired connection, you'll have the Android wired options available. Press enter here. There's two functions available. You can choose the memory function, which you'll use if you want to play music that is stored in your Android phone. You'll use memory. And you also have app control as a option. With app control, you could use Pioneer's Arc app or control other apps from the head unit. So we'll use the memory function for right now, and we'll go back and roll over to the next setting, which is USB auto on. This means that when I plug something in, a USB thumb drive or possibly a phone, into USB, the system will automatically switch to the USB source and begin to play a track. Now, if you don't want that to happen, you can switch USB auto to off. And this means you could plug in a phone or something like that, and it would charge the phone, but it wouldn't automatically switch to that source. You can always touch the source button here and switch to the USB source if you want, but the system won't automatically switch there for you. For right now, I'm going to leave USB auto switched on. And we'll roll over to the next setting, which is back around to clock set. At any time, you can exit this menu or any menu by pressing the band button to escape.